Welcome to ABC Bullion's 360 weekly wrap. My name is Crystal Thivios and I'm joined once again by our resident precious metals expert, Global General Manager at ABC Bullion, Nick Frappel.
Hi, Crystal.
Hi, how are you going?
Very well, thank you.
That's good. So economic data from the US is coming in hot and it looks like nominal yields are still on the rise. What has this meant for our gold price?
Well, it's been a dampener on the gold price, and it's worth looking at that economic data just to see how strong it was. So US core retail, non-core retail sales were up like 5.3, 5.9%. They were actually expected to come in at 1.1. So, you know, it was a really sort of bit of a surprise. Your nominal yields, I think, went up to 139. Next target's 151. Of course, the thing that people will be wondering about is at what point nominal yields get high enough that it actually makes us reevaluate all kinds of asset markets.
Yeah.
But short term, yeah, it's definitely affected gold. Positioning wise, we've seen gold managed money longs have come off by about 870k. Shorts have actually increased by the biggest single weekly increase since October of last year. It's I think about 1 million ounces or so. And that it kind of explains why last week when I was saying, oh, you know, net open interest doesn't seem to have changed much, it's because those two numbers kind of went in opposite directions.
Okay.
But it's interesting that the shorts have actually taken a bit of a view. Technically, the price dropped down to the weekly cloud base, right at the weekly cloud base, touched that level, bounced right off it. Don't really see huge signs of recovery, you know, massively, but it's what it was 1760 and a half, the low. You know, we've made it back above 1800, which is actually a pretty nice move. And we're still within the weekly cloud itself, so kind of expecting some volatile moves within that sort of that span of about 1760, say 1830 or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And moving on to silver, we've still seen talk of the silver squeeze.
Yeah.
What does this mean?
Well, silver, you know, just setting aside the actual squeeze or the talk of the silver squeeze itself, which isn't actually manifesting in terms of a tighter market,
Yeah.
but just in terms of the price action, you know, when you look at prices being higher, it's then come back a bit, it's tested some levels, but it's always managed to close above really key points. Like it's closed above the weekly standard line and so on. It's well above the weekly cloud, and it's risen rapidly. You know, last Friday there was a big drop, and it's, you know, it's moved back higher. So silver's looking good, and I think it's looking good not only because well, it's obviously, you know, it's relatively favored more than gold, but also all of the kind of like the reflation talk, the kind of post vaccine talk, all, you know, signs of, you know, a generally booming or solid recovery. That is also helping silver. So it's like silver's kind of taking the copper kind of look and saying, hey, we're in a reflating world. That's helping, you know, the kind of like the industrial side of silver or the industrial demand side of silver. So moving back to the silver squeeze, I had a look at that Reddit or that subreddit, and there seems to be a lot of mixed messages where people are saying, oh, you know, you shouldn't try, and it's not squeezable.
Yeah.
But I think the point is that people who are keen on silver are kind of pushing on an open door, because all of the technicals, you know, and the price action is looking good. So I think, you know, we saw that move back to 28 quite quickly, or up to nearly 28 quite quickly, and now we're looking, I think, you know, the market can go back to the recent highs, you know, fairly easily. So I'm positive about silver.
Great.
Yeah.
And finally, our Australian dollar looks like it's moving towards 0.80 and beyond. Is that the case?
Yeah, so, you know, that target we talked about last week, I think 0.786.
Yeah. That
was reached very quickly last week, and I think we've actually gone a little bit, you know, made a high a little bit beyond there. There are a few things that are going on, partly slight weakness in the dollar, the US dollar, but also the Aussie is, you know, kind of catching that reflationary thing, as, you know, silver is. The other thing, as well as, you know, iron ore prices staging a good recovery. So it's all part of a good, positive economic story that's affecting our exports. The other thing that's particularly kind of relevant to this month and the next, you know, few weeks, ANZ did some really nice research about how, now that we're entering dividend payment season, that's generally good for the Aussie. And there have been some really monster dividends paid by companies like, you know, BHP and so on.
Yeah.
So those payments are basically largely paid in US dollars, and then some of them are converted back into Aussie. So what you're seeing is a big, a potential for a continuing uplift in the Australian dollar. So for now, good for the Australian dollar, obviously not so good for, all other things being equal, for Aussie dollar, gold and silver.
Awesome, thanks so much, Nick. And thank you all for tuning in once again. For more from ABC Bullion 360, please follow us on our socials or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Until next time, happy trading at abcbullion.com.au. Thank you.